Nepal walks a tightrope as competitive diplomatic maneuvers between China and the United States intensify in its small but strategically significant location. The tug-of-war between the two major economic and military powers aimed at augmenting influence in the Himalayan nation intensified as a large Chinese delegation visited Kathmandu recently. The joint statement released post-extensive talks suggested that meetings were largely focused on the Nepal general elections, scheduled to be held later in the year. In what has been highlighted by many as undermining Nepal's sovereignty, Beijing has managed to persuade Kathmandu to sign an agreement which will allow China to keep a close and constant vigil over Nepal's legislative and governing standpoints. Experts say China is also concerned about the declining dominance of the communist parties in the country. In order to achieve its long-term objectives and advance its expansionist ambitions, Beijing wants to see a government in power in Kathmandu that is in line with its ideological leanings.
China appears concerned that Nepal's communist parties may lose elections and may lose their, standing in the power dynamics and may lose their position in the parliament, where they were the largest party during the last elections. So I think it's quite worried about November elections.
On the other hand, the United States has become increasingly involved in the Himalayan nation. The United States' $500 million USD assistance under the Millennium Challenge Compact, which was ratified by the Nepal Parliament recently, is a major setback to China's overly intrusive diplomacy. The grant assistance of $500 million USD would be used to strengthen Nepal's energy transmission and road development projects. This particular development has rung alarm bells in China's power corridors. Since then, China has shown a special interest in Nepalese issues. In the recent delegation-level bilateral engagement, China pledged to expeditiously pursue projects related to the BRI, or Belt and Road Initiative. Deemed as the modern-day Silk Road, these projects were signed as far back as 2017, but have yet to see the light of day.
There was a kind of exchange of words between China and USA. When there was Nepal was debating whether or not to ratify NCC, or just recently whether or not to join the US State Partnership Program, SPP. So the Chinese leaders are coming in and trying to nose and trying to take Nepal and Nepali leaders into confidence more now than ever before.
Experts have opined that China has devised a two-pronged strategy to counter a possible American diplomatic consolidation in Nepal. 1. China will unleash information warfare tactics against Washington. 2. It will pursue Nepalese political developments in order to have who China considers to be favorable leaders at the helm of affairs in the country. The general elections in November will be crucial to the future course of diplomacy. However, the tide doesn't seem to be favoring Beijing. With its debt-trap diplomacy receiving negative publicity and its missions in different countries facing a popular backlash, there is no denying that China is responsible for some major investments in Nepal and other similar small, underdeveloped countries. However, the loans China provides are tagged with massive interest rates, which eventually result in countries falling into the never-ending debt loop. Sri Lanka has suffered the consequences. Experts predict that Pakistan might meet a similar fate. In such circumstances, one can only hope that Kathmandu somehow preempts China's moves and turns to more reliable, open, and democratic alternatives like the United States and India.